This is the Marcia Week Show, and we're coming to you live from Barbados. Hello, good night, good night, good night, Facebook. This is Marcia Weeks, and you are watching the Marcia Week Show. And I am so excited to be with you tonight. I have an exciting array of guests scheduled for you this evening here on the Election Express. We had such an amazing show last night. Listen, I was on a high till this morning, and I know tonight will be no different. Each night when I'm finished these shows, I am so inspired, really. And so it's really such a great opportunity to be interviewing these third party candidates. And tonight we are featuring the Barbados Sovereignty Party, right? The Barbados Sovereignty Party and the coalition. And so I have with me Mr. Philip Springer is going to be in with me. And hi, good evening, Wayne Hoyt. You're really encouraging these third parties, Wayne. This is awesome. Awesome, Wayne. Awesome. And we have Mr. Philip Springer, who's going to be on with us. And I actually do even have his. You're going to see his new poster that he did, looking very wonderful. And also, yes, that's Mr. Philip Springer right there. Philip. Well, I know him as Philip Springer, but Philip Catlin. And that is his poster there. And he says he's a man of the people. He says, let me fight for you. A vote for Philip is a vote for you. That is Mr. Philip Catlin, or Philip Springer, from the Barbados Sovereignty Party. And we also have with us Mr. Fallon Best is going to be joining us a little later. And we do have a poster of him as well, of Mr. Fallon Best. And there he goes. And he is the city of Bridgetown. He's a candidate for the city of Bridgetown. And so Mr. Best is going to be on tonight. And we also have Melissa Tate, who was on before. And Melissa is going to be on. And she has her manifesto. She has her manifesto, Wayne. Last week, a few days ago, we introduced her, but tonight we actually have her manifesto, and that is what we're going to see. And I could just give you a little sneak preview of that. Yes, this is her she's from Solutions Barbados, because remember I told you that they're part of the coalition, and she's from St. George North. And so tonight we're going to go through the manifesto, and you can ask her as many questions. Yes, Wayne is saying great. I look forward to hearing from her again. And so we're going to have, she's going to come on. Is there anybody else out there? Where are you watching from? Anybody out there? Where are you watching from? And we have Miss Karina is going to be on. And I am not sure. Oh, Karina Gooding. She's right here. Wonderful. So they are all here. And I believe they're all in at this time. And we are going to hear from them in a minute. But there are two videos that I have here from Veronica Evelyn, and I want to use them to set the tone for the evening. And I love these videos. They're non-partisan, and they are just talking about some of the issues that concern a lot of Barbadians. A big voting bloc. Which Solution Barbados and Barbados Sovereignty Party and other APP and others, they're trying to capture this audience. So I just want to play a couple of Veronica Evelyn's videos, if we can get it up there at the moment. Yeah. So let's listen to her a bit.
This is not a silly season. No, it's a very serious season. So if you believe that there is a creator, a God who is supreme, on January 19th, let your ex talk. This election will be a defining moment in Barbadian history because it is not only about politics or socioeconomics or social programs and policies. It is a spiritual battle for the soul of the nation. Vote for men and women who you have reasonable cause to believe will stand up in Parliament and speak according to the will of God. Men and women who will not rationalize rebellion against God and who will not subject this country to the follies of the modern world with its flawed humanistic thinking. Vote for moral and spiritual integrity. Vote for the legacy that you want to leave for your children and grandchildren. Vote decisively that Barbados will remain a sovereign country founded on principles that acknowledge the supremacy of God.
God the merciful, righteous judge, cause your face on us to shine. We seek your presence, your divine help, not for our glory, but for thine. That your way may be known on the earth, your saving grace among all nations.
Fellow Barbadians, this election is serious business and it requires sober thought and sure action. Your vote is important because it is that single vote that will help to determine whether this new republic will continue to follow the secular humanist path that it has been following, or whether we will reorient ourselves as a country founded on principles that acknowledge the supremacy of God.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Very, very, very sobering. She's saying, Miss Dr. Veronica Evelyn is saying, vote sensibly. This is not silly season. And this is a good note to welcome Mr. Philip Springer on, because I want to hear his thoughts on this. Mr. Springer, welcome. Let me also welcome Melissa Tate. Hi, welcome, Melissa. The viewers are so happy to have you back. Welcome, welcome, Melissa. Good to have you. And there is Karina Goodridge. Karina Goodridge. I'm not seeing her camera on just yet. And I'm still waiting on Mr. Fallon Best, right? But yes, so Miss Karina Goodridge is here. Welcome, Karina.
Good night. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for welcoming me.
Yes, and you are St. Philip West. St. Philip West. And you're the candidate
Philip
for
West.
St. Philip West. Okay, wonderful. And
Yes,
Melissa,
yes. Philip West all the way.
and Melissa is St. George North, right? And Mr. Philip Springer, you're St. Thomas.
St. Thomas.
St.
Let
George.
me clarify. Let me clarify something there. I saw you struggling with the name issue. I was born Philip Nathaniel Catlin.
Uh-huh.
to my mother, Norma Catlin, now deceased. But when I left for Canada, um, I was adopted and I got the name Springer. And
Ah,
then I've answered to it for so many years. But when I came back here, all my identification was in Catlin, so I just reverted back to Catlin. So it's actually my legal name.
okay. So, which one do you prefer for us to call you by, Springer or
Well,
Cat?
tonight you can call me Springer because everybody does. But for the
Everybody knows
election,
you.
right? But for the election, they told me I couldn't use Springer because Catlin was my
Is
name.
your real name? Okay. Well, the name that was given to you by at birth.
Correct, correct.
Right. Well, listen, you're adopted, man. You got two families. You love twice.
Thank you. Absolutely correct. You're right about that.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. And I am so happy to see another female here. You brought another female here with me, Philip. Miss
Yes.
Christina
I
Goodrich.
wanted to balance. I wanted to balance the ticket tonight. I thought too often we're a bit male heavy, so
Yes,
I think Fallon is gonna have enough to go on anyway. So I'm just gonna enjoy this. Melissa is strong. I haven't met Karina before except on the telephone, and I'm hoping
right.
that she will be a good balance for myself. While I'm pairing up Melissa with Fallon because he's pretty strong. So I think we can have a good show tonight.
Yes, yes, we will. We will. And I just want to welcome those who are on and ask you to share, guys. This is a third party. You know what I always say? They don't get all the publicity from traditional media. So we're going to ask you to share and to let people know that they're on. This is the Marcia Week show, and you can find it. Even the candidates find the show and share it to the people that you believe that they need to see it. It's the Marcia Week show on Facebook, and share it and let people know that you're on. Let your constituents know that you are on you know
Mhm.
and Karina, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 34 years of age, so I may look young, but I'm still not that old. I'm the representative for St. Philip West on the Solutions Barbados. It's such an honor to be that. It's such an honor to be the voice of the people right now. I'm also an attorney at law.
Hmm.
Yes, I love speaking on behalf of people, whether it's in court, whether it will be in parliament. I'm grateful to be a voice of the people. I love to help people with issues. I like to know what issues you have and give you resolution. I don't like to know that people are waiting very long for resolution and feeling miserable. So I'm a person I like to put myself in people's place, in their shoes, to truly understand what it is that needs to be done and what it is that's bothering these people.
Yes,
But that's
wonderful.
me in a nutshell.
I was saying the same thing, Wayne Hoyt said. Karina the advocate. He says Karina the advocate, and the same thing that came in my mind, Wayne. Guys, please share, please share, please share. We want to get everybody. I know people are off watching all the glitz and the glamour and the noise and the entertainment, but we're
Oh
talking
yeah.
tonight, all right? So I want you to send it around and share it, share, and let others know that they're on. I have questions for them tonight. Tonight, we want to hear solutions from them, right? Melissa, can you just reintroduce yourself to the audience tonight?
As mentioned before in my previous show, my name is Melissa T, and I'm the representative for St. George North, running candidate in St. George North. I am a ex-Parkinsonian. I attend Parkinson Secondary. I've been involved in many different trades since I finished my studies at the university and college. And right now, I run my own business in fisheries under the name of Fish and More Fish.
Mm-hmm.
So I have done extensive things, and I have been with people on many levels. So I understand the other individuals as I have been there and I have worked there and I have done that. And I'm more than willing to serve at this point in time because it seems that I recognize that right now people are treating these elections as something trivial. It kind of resembles to me like crop over.
Yes.
People are partying in a frenzy and fanfare, but for me, is a distraction. They need to stay focused and not be distracted. Do not allow themselves to be distracted. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I have seen some people spot meetings and those meetings exempted, but there are so many issues at hand to address. Why take up time with such fanfare? We have time to have fun later. This is the time to flesh out the issues and find out how we are going to address those issues and resolve them in the most professional manner. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, this is serious business.
Mm-hmm. Correct, correct, Melissa. Wayne is reminding me that I talked about the political cadiment, and that is what is happening. You see the big trucks and the music and all of this that is happening. Mrs. Springer, you are St. Thomas. You're the St.
Yes,
Thomas
I
Club.
am. Yes, I
Yes,
am.
yes, yes. And you gave us a little introduction of yourself. But these two wonderful ladies are from Solutions Barbados. So tell us about your party, the Barbados Sovereignty Party.
Well, Barbados Sovereignty is part of the coalition with Solutions Barbados, New Kingdom Alliance. And we're very happy to be part of this coalition, as well as Bayesian Free Party, which is already aligned with myself. So it came in through that way. We have about 20 candidates altogether between the four parties. And I think that is in keeping with the APP and the likes. I think there's only the BLP and the DLP that have more candidates. So I think we're in good stead. Let me talk a little bit about Barbados Sovereignty Party. We are interested in the sovereignty of the people of Barbados. We're interested in your rights. We recognize that in the current dispensation, many of the rights are being taken away from people. Your human rights have pretty much disintegrated already. So we're saying, let us stand up for all rights. There are many rights that are out there, whether it's civil rights, equal rights. There's all kinds of rights, but the most important right to life is your sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose your sovereignty, you are nothing. You're a wind. You're a leaf in the wind. You're just blowing all over. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've taken the position that everybody's sovereign. If you're born of God, and if you are a believer in God, you're a sovereign. Oh, even a non-believer is sovereign. The point is that we take it to the next level simply because, well, we expect that the Father, who we believe in, is the ultimate sovereignty. And if we are a part of such, then we should be sovereign and treated in such a manner. One thing I will always say before I start any dialogue, we're all conceived in sin and brought forth in iniquity. What do I mean by that? I'm imperfect in the eyes of man, but I'll let God be the judge of that. We
Mm-hmm.
all have a history, we all have a past, if you haven't got a past, you haven't been born. You haven't lived. So therefore, my job is not to come here and roar your someone or make any pronouncements on anyone, good, bad, or indifferent. What I want to tell the people is, let us talk to you, let you talk to us, let us exchange ideas. Let's hear what it is that you want to tell the people in Parliament. Let us speak for you. Let us be your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Let us represent your family. This is not about an individual. This is not about a job. I don't need anybody's job. I'm sure these ladies don't need a job. They're both employed. What we have to be able to do is to be able to take an honest and an accurate look at what are the things that are plaguing us in our lives. What are we? What are the things that are affecting us, affecting our families? How do we get our voice to be heard? When decisions are being made, we go to a republic. Nobody ever asks me anything. I'm a taxpayer. I live in this country. Nobody had consulted with me. I'm sure those ladies, nobody consulted with them either. I'm sure they didn't consult with you. We had a president elected. Nobody said, fellas or ladies, let's vote on this. Now they call an election in the middle of a pandemic and they turn around and say, give us a one party government so that we can do a better job. But you had 18 more months to do the job and prove to me. Now you want me to believe that somehow by calling an early election in the middle of a pandemic when over 500 people were infected with Omicron yesterday, you want me to believe that by giving you another 30 and 0 victory or any form of victory, somehow everything is going to be okay. Omicron is going to disappear after 2 years. All my rights that have been taken away are going to be reinstated. You know, this is nonsense. This is why I'm in this race. Not because I need a job or not because I want to be a politician.
Right.
I just want the truth. I want transparency. And I want that the other people that feel like me to be able to have a voice. The other thing that we're not addressing, and I've never heard it yet and I've not seen it, people with disabilities. People, um, for instance, women. Women, that's another peeve of mine. We don't have sufficient representation in our parliament of women. And I think the best finance minister in the world would come from one of two places. Either a woman with some children or a rum shop owner. Because they're the only people that know that can balance a damn budget, run a business on next to nothing, and make things work. Instead, what we get is a bunch of politically elite people who take themselves too serious, and then they go and they run the government, they mess it up because they have no damn responsibility. They don't understand the first thing about running a business. And then they want to come and say, "Oh, give us another turn. We didn't mind. We messed up for 3 years, but give us another turn. Give us another chance." This is why I'm here.
This is why. Okay.
This is why Barbados and Barbados Sovereignty and Kingdom Alliance and Belgian Free Party are in alliance together because we want to be able to tell the people.
Somebody's calling you, Philip. Somebody's
they're always calling me. They're always calling. I'm gonna finish on this part. Let us represent the country as the country is. In other words, there should be proper representation of women. There should be proper representation of people with disabilities. Right? I think that these are things that are lacking. I haven't seen any person in the parliament that other than the knights in shining armor. And I think it's time for us to start pricking their consciousness. That's what I'm.
Wow, powerful, really, really powerful. I want to hear from Kiana. Kiana, I showed a video at the beginning, two videos at the beginning of the show, talking about this silly season, and Melissa made reference to it. And in the video, Dr. Evelyn kept saying, vote sensibly. This is not silly season. We hear our Prime Minister said this is silly season. And here is Veronica, Dr. Veronica Evelyn said, no, it's not silly season. Vote sensibly. What are your thoughts about that? Karina?
Did
Oh,
she
you
hear
said
you?
Karina. Hi, you can hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said Kiana, so you actually thought that
Okay.
Kiana was.
I'm sorry, Karina.
Yes, it's Karina. That's okay. So your question is concerning the. I didn't hear you.
The whole silly season, and so I did a video at the beginning of the show, two videos about the silly season, and where Dr.
Yes.
Evelyn was asking us to vote sensibly, and Melissa
Yes, I definitely
alluded to
agree.
the whole thing. I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Okay, well, I definitely agree with voting sensibly in this time because we have to realize as people of Barbados that the country is ours. It belongs to the people. We have a right to speak out. We have a right to be a part of every decision that is actually taking place in the country. And there should be more investigation into what actually helps lift up Barbados as a nation and not just a few individuals. So people need to go back in history too and look at a lot of things that had happened and see
Mhm.
where the country went wrong and where did it go right and what works for Barbados. Look at the economy, sit down and look at the cost of living and see, okay, are things better now? What could be done to make it better? And choose the candidates correctly. Don't choose candidates just based on popularity or just, you being a fan favorite of anybody. You have to
Mhm.
really look at the policies that we're sending out. Read each policy, consider the policies, and listen to the candidates too, because every candidate will have something different to say. They will have different solutions concerning what they could do for their constituency. So you have to listen to the meetings, compare even the meetings. I'm a younger person in society, so I'm going to compare the manifestos. I'm going to compare the policies. So all of these things are going to help you to get in the right frame of mind to vote sensibly. You can't
Mhm.
just go off of promises that were people who promised you things before, and then now just because an election is coming up, then okay, now you want to hear something that is going to be short term. You want Barbados to have the vision of the future, because without the vision, then we're just going to look at politics as the fun of it, the hype of it, the
Mhm.
music being played behind it, without looking at the seriousness of where this country is heading. Look at the debt. Some Barbadians may not be interested in that because they didn't take out the money. But at the end of the day, taxpayers, you're being hit with
Mhm.
taxes that are pretty high. Consider all of these things when you're thinking about your vote. Think about your children. Think about your children's future when you're thinking about voting, because
Mhm.
people pass and the younger generation is going to be here. So your vote now is a vote for the future generation, for your children. There may be a child out there who's not even 18 yet. Next few years they're gonna be 18 and become a, as we recognize, an adult in society. So
Mhm.
your decision is gonna affect your children too. So take into
Mhm.
consideration the economy and everything that is happening. I don't want to be too long because they always have a lot to say.
No, 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 but it's solid. It's solid, because there's just so much hype that is happening, so much hype,
Yes.
and Melissa hit the nail on the head. You just can't be partying all the time, And I'm so heartened to hear you say,
Well,
Christina, you sit down and you look at the manifestos, right? You read them, and I was reading
Yes.
some of Melissa's
I
manifesto today. Go ahead, Melissa.
no, you could continue. What I was saying is, I am so shocked. I am so shocked and taken back by the amount of people that I see are allowed to assemble for the first time in 2 years that we've
Mhm.
been in pandemic, where we were told to disperse and to social distance. Right now, under this current election, so when they mention about silly season, maybe they mean it from a different perspective. Maybe they think of us as people who are silly because we are willing to indulge in what they're doing. And it does not make sense. This is like a total 360 of the last 2 years. We were told to get home by 9 o'clock or get in
Mhm.
by a certain time. And mind you, this state of emergency that we're in is hampering the businesses of many people across the island. Persons have to close up early, and other persons have to leave work early, cutting short their business hours and the hours that they would be earning money to go home by a curfew. But listen, it's elections, and now we're allowed to do whatever we choose to do. And like I said, it's a distraction. It's a distraction from the infringement of our democratic rights.
Mhm.
That is what it is, a distraction from that infringement, because you called an election so far ahead of time in the middle of what people call the pandemic, where people's fear is heightened and everything is disoriented because their finances are dwindling. They have so many other things to try to grapple with, and then you try on them that you're ready for elections, and then you provide for them such extensive manifesto is, you read it longer than a thesis, that these individuals really can't grapple. So they're caught up now in the fanfare of partying, because why, they weren't given the opportunity to go and exercise their right to socialize for so long that they welcome it. They
Mhm.
welcome it. It's like children coming out of school early for the last day.
Correct.
The distraction is on on such an enormous level. It's such an enormous level, and it is a culture that has been cultivated in Barbados for so long around election times
Mm-hmm.
that we are supposed to be partying, going through fanfare, when we were actually in the process of deciding what our future is supposed to be. We, the electorate, the persons who vote, are the persons who are actually chartering the future for ourselves and our children. You're just a person trying to tell us what are the various options as the politicians, what are the various options and avenues that we should take. But we, the electorate, actually the persons who are going to make that decision by giving that vote to you. So how can it be that we are making such serious decisions in such a comical atmosphere? So when they describe it as silly season, that is what it is for them. That is
Mm-hmm.
what it is for them. And they create atmosphere where people enjoy and go through fanfare and make serious decisions while under the influence, sometimes even of drinking beverages that they should not be drinking.
Correct, correct. In fact,
So
Melissa,
I am saying,
yeah, just to interject here, one candidate told me that there's some from these bigger parties who are just going on the block and leaving bottles of liquor. And I'm saying is this is the time when people are to make sound judgment. To Katrina
well,
talking,
this
sitting and reading the manifesto, right? And now, I mean,
my
when you get everybody drunk, what are they gonna do, right?
but my take on that is we are right now in the middle of elections, but when the wind blows and we close our eyes, this back to school. Why they couldn't turn it with pencil sharpeners and rubbers? Why
Mm-hmm.
they can't turn it with geometry sets and reams of paper? Because there are parents that after this election they still don't know how they're going to provide the supplies that their children need to work with, whether they're working face to face or they're working from home. Those were ideas that I had, and I sent out seeking donations for those things because I recognize there are people in our constituencies that are really struggling.
Mm-hmm.
But when people were locked up and and were told to stay home for so long, any opportunity to come out and socialize, because the jargon pitchline is do what you need to do to return back to normal. So they're giving them that glimpse of normality right now in the season of a time that should be so important. We
Mm-hmm.
learned the majority of COVID, and we were able to sit down and any conferences we could have elections along those lines, because what we're in the middle of what we call a new variant. I'm just
Well,
chiding my
you know,
constituency members and all those within
this
along
is
all the
very serious,
borders of
and we're
Barbados.
we're going to talk about this here, in a very very serious way. In fact, I'm just going to do it now. I'm not sure if everybody's heard the news from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have some articles that I want to show you from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I was going to do it a little later in the show, but I'm just going to bring that up right now since we're talking about having the election in this pandemic. Because, guys, I believe there are seven members of parliament that they went to a wedding. One of the prime minister's niece was getting married, went to the wedding, almost the whole parliament, and quite a number of them now have come down with the virus. In fact, they had to close parliament.
Marcia,
Yes.
Marcia, interestingly, yes, yesterday St. Vincent released that they had 800, I can't remember the exact figure, 800 plus new cases, 600 plus were vaccinated persons. This was official release from St. Vincent.
Yes, and
You
inclusive in
know,
that, including in that are members of parliament. So this
yes,
is not something for us to take lightly, right? And I think the article is going to come up soon. But this is not something
yes,
that is a joke. And now we have people partying in election time. This is it here. Budget debate is suspended as six government MPs fall ill, and
yes.
there is a rumor that there is someone there that fell down in parliament, and that he's been transported out of St. Vincent of the Grenadines to be taken care of. And this is what I'm saying. What am I saying? This is so. This is no joke. And I hear Melissa and what she's saying about the season that we're in, because no one would expect that we would be having these kind of crowds. We're not supposed to be doing that. But there's supposed to be a serious, it's a serious thing. It's not, they call it silly season, but it's a serious. There are six government MPs that have fallen ill in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the finance minister is among them, right? So this is something very, very serious, and we have an election that has been called, Karina, in the middle of a pandemic. And there are so many thousands. Today I learned that over 3,000, near 4,000 persons are quarantined at home. This doesn't include those that are quarantined at Harrison Point, and they are not going to be able to vote. As an attorney, what are your views on that?
Well, to be honest, when you think about COVID-19, my take on it is that there should be more self-management. When some people only find out when they get to work that they have COVID-19, what about healthcare kits? What about digital thermometers that you can give to people, that there can be more
Right.
self-management at home? Like if I'm at home and I know, well, the government's, let's say the government spend, at least say it might cost 2 million. Let me just use that for example. And you get these kits, these digital thermometers, and people are able to check their temperatures. Then they know, well, I'm not going out to that political meeting because my temperature is high. Like we're talking about the
Mhm.
responsible people in
It's
the
true.
society that we are
It's true.
supposed to be. So if you know, then
Yes.
well, if you then find out, well, my temperature is high. As a responsible human being, you would say, well, then I'm not going to that political meeting, or I'm not going to go to work. I'm going to do a check. There's also the SpO2 machines. People may not be familiar with it, but you can test your
Right.
oxygen even if you're doing home isolation. So when you're doing your home isolation now, and you realize, well, my oxygen is really low, then you could call in. And then of course then you will go in the requisite place, whether it is at the doctor, because they're private doctors now looking after people with the COVID-19 and so on.
Mhm.
So yes, my thing on it is that if we do more self-management, invest in people having those digital thermometers, then it could actually help carry down the numbers. People keep pushing the idea of being vaccinated, but remember this: those who are vaccinated are also spreading the COVID-19, right?
Correct.
It doesn't stop you from spreading it,
It's true.
because there are people who are vaccinated who are still down, say, remember St. Lucie, right?
Mhm. Harrison Point.
Or some point, correct. So they're down there with the COVID-19. So if you really want to combat the spread, help people to do that self-management.
Mhm.
Or not,
Mhm.
people will not be down there at a political meeting. So let me get back to what you're saying. Is that in the midst of elections, yes, because there are going to be people who have COVID-19 too, who will want to vote. And the whole point that we are pushing all the time is, if you have COVID-19, so isolate. So I have to ask now, what is in place for the persons now that have the COVID-19 then? Are they going to not vote? Is it
That's
that
Well,
the
they're
whole
going
at
to,
the
idea.
moment,
That's the whole idea.
But
it
I,
seems
I,
like
I don't
that's it.
understand
yeah,
why have they not put procedures in place to address people that are in isolation? Why can't they send someone, they say put on a
yeah.
mask, follow the science, and let go to the individual's house to provide the provision for that individual to vote? I don't
Mhm.
understand why that is not being provided. There are so many different medical supplies and provisions out there that so I find it rather shocking
Mhm.
that they're told that they would not be able to vote. There are other options.
Mhm.
And I mean,
Mhm.
let's be
Mhm.
real. When you're sick, if you really have like terrible symptoms, you don't want to be thinking about voting either. Let's be
Mhm.
real. If I was sick now and I have COVID-19, am I
It's
really studying to vote? Really? And I'm sick on a hospital bed? So that's a tough one. That's really a tough one.
but
Karina, a lot of these people,
but those
they have the virus, and they don't feel sick.
Yes, a
They're
lot.
in
They have
They're
this.
quarantine,
symptomatic.
and so what
they're
I'm saying,
asymptomatic.
they're asymptomatic.
That's
That
So
is true.
as you said earlier, to follow the science. You have been telling us to follow the science.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
we could easily make arrangements, I believe, for people.
That is true.
It's
A
been done.
provision.
This is not provision. This has been done in Jamaica. Jamaica
Yes,
had
we have
theirs
to.
last year, and they had provisions for those people who were COVID, who tested positive for COVID-19. So there's precedence. It can be done, and all it needs is just a little thinking about the people, as a little
Exactly.
caring, a little believing that everybody has a right, and really enforcing, that belief. I think that is a
Hmm.
very, very important. And I know, Mr. Springer, this is a big bone of contention for several of you in your party, and you're seeking, I was told you're seeking an injunction, for the, against this election.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. Yes, we have been consulting with some attorneys, and in fact, we were supposed to file the the urgent writ today before the Supreme Court, but I think we're delayed for a day or so to sort some other matters out. In any event, that is a necessity. Listen to what we're talking about. We are in a pandemic and we're in an election 18 months out. It doesn't, it's inhumane. It's denying you your human rights. It's denying you your rights, constitutional rights. It's denying you just about every right you can think of. If you're disenfranchised and you cannot make a decision and a new government is put in place that you've had no say in, you now have to live and abide by whatever that decision is. And you've had no say, you've not even had the ability to go to the police or have somebody come to you. I heard a man say on VOB this morning, if I can have my wife's permission in writing to go to the drugstore and collect her drugs, how come I cannot have my wife's permission if my wife had COVID or is sick to be able to cast an X on her behalf? And I heard the moderator say to the gentleman, no, no, that's not allowed in law. That's not allowed in law. Well, maybe they should allow it in law. The point is that we are operating under some real silly laws, to be honest with you. Um, and the thing that is most egregious to me is that we have a president now who also is being irresponsible because as the president of the country, she should have said to the government when they came to her to have the parliament dissolved, hey, have you thought this thing through? This is Christmas. This is the week between Christmas and New Year's. People have been under duress for 2 years, and this is the only break they will have this week. And instead, you call it an election. Then make matters worse. COVID is rampant out there, and this Omni thing has popped its ugly head up. I can tell you personally that last weekend, and I don't really want to go into too much details on this, but I'm aware of 3 people that died between Friday and Saturday. 2 of them were fully vaccinated. One was a 19-year-old girl, and it's very unfortunate. After her second vaccine, 2 days, she was dead.
Hmm.
This is very sad. Honestly, I know probably at least 5 or 6 other people who have come down with COVID in the past week alone. And this is from over the Christmas holidays, them going and having a good time with their friends and relatives and this and that. And not meaning to be bad or not meaning to be callous, but you're having your fun with your family. You have a drink or two and maybe let your guard down a little bit, and all of a sudden I know 2 people that came here from Canada were negative when they left Canada, fully vaccinated, and came to Barbados. Was negative when they got here, and within 2 3 days had COVID.
Mhm, mhm,
This is not good.
mhm,
Something is wrong with this picture because if you're negative 72 hours before, you arrive here and you're tested, you're negative, and 2 3 days later you have COVID. Is
mhm,
it that this thing is reacting to the weather or something? Is it what you see? We're guinea pigs. We're being used right now as guinea pigs. The sad
mhm,
thing about all of this, and I didn't want to dwell on it because it's saddening to me to see what is going on. It may not, some of you may not have been affected like I have in the past 4 or 5 days. Personally, it's not touched my life. But I have to ask the question again, how long will it take before all of us are touched? I saw Dr. Anthony Fauci say on CNN today, all of us are going to be affected by this thing. He didn't say most of us. He said all of us are going to be touched.
But
But
when you think of all of that and you put it in the context, you put everything in the context of this election here. Your party is saying that you are moving to get an injunction against this election. So your plan is that if all goes well, that we would not have the election on the 19th. Is that what you're saying?
that would be the ultimate goal. However, I don't think that that is going to happen. The attorneys are telling us that it is not likely to happen. The government is acting within the rules. They have not broken any rules,
Mhm.
so that is in their favor. The other sad thing about it is that even though they're acting within the rules, they're not acting with good common sense. This is a
So,
betrayal of
what is the injunction for? It
well, to ask the courts to step in where our political heads are not functioning in the best interest of the people.
So what are they to step in to do is what I'm saying.
Well,
If we're going
hopefully,
to still have the election on the 19th, what's the point?
well, exactly. What is the point? We have to try it. We have to put this on record. We have to show that we, in fact, are trying to say to the people in authority, hey, hold it. I believe that after this election, there is going to be a ton of lawsuits thrown at the government over this matter. But the problem is everybody's waiting until after. I think you have to preserve your rights by filing now, even if you're not successful.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put it on notice, on record,
Mm-hmm.
that in fact you object to this malfeasance that's being practiced on the at the rights of the people. It is not fair. Look. I am not against any party. I'm not against any particular politician. It is not. I'm not here for that. But I want to see, and I ask myself the question: you have 29 people supposedly in a party, and one person sitting on the other side who really belongs to that party, and an former opposition party. I haven't heard one voice stood up and and said, "Hey, this is not acceptable. This is
Well,
not
I
right."
mean, I know I've heard others
it
speaking against it. I've heard other persons. I mean, it's good to know that Barbados Sovereignty Party is stepping up and actually filing an injunction. But I have heard others. No, no. Let me just ask the lawyer. I have to add to this. Right, Katrina. What are your thoughts about this? Do you think that this is unjust to be having the election in the middle of the pandemic? Do you think there's any legal recourse for people? Mr. Springer is saying, we might have a lot of lawsuits, which I don't doubt. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, what I can say is that if you believe that you have a cause of action, then you can bring a lawsuit before the courts. And then it's for the
Mhm.
judges and the magistrates to decide does he really just say that
Yes,
all right?
yes,
Look at
my my
United States of America, right? When you're dealing with United States of America, Obama had the 2 terms. He was brought back in and so on. But everybody knows that, it's time sometimes you have a change of government. Because when we're thinking about change of government, we're thinking, some ministers then tend to become corrupt and be puffed up, and then it's all about them and the win instead of the voice of the people, right? So I'm not a fan either of using a snap election to be a strategy and then the others are not prepared. I'm a person that believes that the rights of the people should always be upfront foremost, right?
Mhm.
Because then we have a snap election, then people are not looking for it. Some people are dormant, maybe they're sleeping, who knows? But
Mhm.
they're maybe unprepared. We don't want it because the interest of the people is supposed to be what we have and we're keeping in mind. How is the interest of
Mhm.
the people? Not just about the salaries,
Mhm.
nothing like that. So I'm
Mhm.
just not a fan of snap elections. I,
Not,
I
not
think
a
you
fan
should
of it.
have some. Say we have it every 3 years, or as we said, our manifesto give us a year, time in advance, but put a limit on it so we know when it's coming, so people could properly prepare, and there's no injustice. We could get rid of a lot of injustice and things that seem unfair, and take a good example from some of the countries that have better functioning.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
You know,
agree with you, Katrina. I think that
Well,
elections should have a certain date, a date
my
certain. You should know when the election is due, and with the exception of let's say emergencies where you may have a 90-day extension or something based on that, or some circumstance that would cause it to run over.
Yes.
But you should know when that date is going to be, and you should not put people in jeopardy or deny them their rights to elect the government.
Yes.
This is politics. This is not about serving the people. This is about how long you're going to hold your job or get a pension or whatever the heck they're trying to do. It doesn't make sense to me that you have 18 months to go and you have a full slate in your favor as a government. There's no opposition. And you're going to call a snap
And
election in the middle of
exactly.
all of this? It doesn't make any sense.
well,
Something
my
begs the
And
reason here. We need to
it
get
doesn't
I
back.
make
think
sense
I
Melissa's
for
think
trying.
we
you.
need
Melissa's
to.
trying to get a word in. Go ahead, Melissa.
I'm sorry, Melissa.
It doesn't make sense for you, but those that understand politics, as she was saying, in the American farmer, their political system, they have a full separation of powers. They have written in their constitution that a president cannot serve more than 2 terms. After 2 terms, his time is up. We're in a parliamentary representative form electoral system, Westminster system. There is no limited time that a prime minister could serve under the Westminster system. But tying that into the fact that a snap election was called, she used the powers that are allotted onto the prime minister under the electoral system we have to call that snap election. Now, some might say it's a strategy. Some might consider that is a sign that there is some kind of factionism going on in her camp. And factionism means there's a breaking up of persons within her group going off in sections by themselves who want to charter their own path. With that being done, she would have no choice. It's either face having the go to the governor general for no confidence votes or dissolve parliament and force everyone to face the ballot. We really do not know what's the reason behind the snap elections, but my main contention is not really the fact that we're in the middle of COVID, even because my problem with the COVID is that they're holding such big events. They're gathering a lot of people. They could have spot meetings, but they're holding events in such a way that it gathers a lot of people. They could have smaller groups of people. But my main contention is that it's infringement on people's democratic rights to be given such a short notice to make such strong decisions about their future. It was not only a surprise to other parties, but to the electorate. And it was given to them at a time where they were supposed to be feeling happy and having fun with their families. So it caught them off guard, and they were not in the frame of mind to really let it sink in and dissolve in their mind and understand
Mhm.
fully what is required of them. I think some people are still trying to come with the fact that they are still in the elections. So my contention is that you were the ruling party 18 months to go to finish your mandate that you settled in your previous manifesto. You cut your time short, but yet still you're trying to encourage us and tell us that you're the right person for the job without giving us a reason of why you cut your time short. And then you make a jingle to say that others are not ready yet. But that's like running the race and somebody bolted, and when they get halfway into the race, to let you know the race began. They infringed
Mhm.
on your rights because they bolted out, and when they get halfway in the race, they still look back. But I start the race already, and you now have to try to catch up, hoping that you don't catch up. We are a liberal democratic country. We're under liberal democracy, and that means that we uphold the principles of free and fair elections. You cannot be having free and fair elections when you bolted out of the gate and you're running ahead and you're telling others, well, I just hope you catch up. And
Mhm.
then you make a
Mhm.
joke off them to say they're not ready yet. But I want Barbadians to realize, right, that we are intellectually inclined society, and sometimes when you're given a pass at a short notice, there are others that might function better under pressure that you might think. Don't become
Yeah.
flustered. Don't become distracted. You what you need to think about when you go to cast your votes. That's why all I just want to encourage Barbadians to do, because this is a major distraction. Some people had a Christmas that wasn't even like Christmas. It wasn't like Christmas for them because they had so much things that were missing. That frustration, happiness to be in the season, and every other thing, and then packs. It just landed on us just like that. I think people are still grappling with it, but in time we will see what the outcome will be. It might be
Yeah.
surprising to a lot to realize there were some people that were waiting to get the chance to at least change their course and direction, and glad they didn't have to wait
Good time.
another 18 months because they just couldn't bear it any longer.
Mhm.
So it's now the duties of those individuals who are on the other side of the coin to show them, we recognize that you can't bear it any longer. We recognize that was overbearing, and we are going to step to the plate and open up your vision and your eyes to see what you need to see to help you make that better choice. That
Mhm.
is the duty, and that
And
is the
that's what we're
mandate for
talking.
all
We're talking tonight,
independent
Melissa, about choice. And
candidates.
that's why each and every one of you, you're here tonight. So I want to know, I know we talked about some national issues, but I want now to talk about your constituency. I want to hear specifically, what are you going to do, Katrina Goodridge for St.
Karina.
Philip West? Karina Goodridge. Karina Goodridge for St. Philip West.
Yeah, so before I move on to that, I just want to say just one last statement on what we were speaking on just now. In that, I want to remind Barbadians that when things are going good, somebody might call, the prime minister might call a snap election, right? But then when things are going bad, as we went through before, then the prime minister might be taking so long just to call the election. So that's the importance of making sure that there's a specific term where elections are called. And for St. Philip West, yes, let me speak to St. Philip West. I'm so excited about the West. Some of the people that I would have met in the West were farmers. And I believe that there should be a specific training for the farmers. I want them to do branding,
Mhm.
and I believe that agriculture is so important. I'm tired of hearing farmers saying that the crops were destroyed and then they lose all our money. So I'm looking at the farmers in St. Philip. I want to see them more developed. I want to see them branded well, just as how we would give the ZR drivers a uniform and so on. We could help the farmers to develop in terms of international branding and international presentation so that we develop agriculture, then the cost of it relates back to the cost of living. And then
Mhm.
now we don't have to spend so much money on food. We know cost of living is not limited to just food. It's the cost of living. It's the cost of
Mhm.
housing, rent, all of those things. But then when we develop our skills, because I really want the people of St. Philip West to develop their skills as entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
Yes, whether
Mhm.
it's they do so by incorporation or just development of their mind and learning how to do things and not solely depend on government. I also want to look at employment.
Mhm.
Something that affects employees nowadays is really the cost of living. So we were looking at the dollar and saying that Barbados dollar is strength. Okay, Trinidad's dollar is weaker than Barbados, but the cost of living in Trinidad is cheaper. So my people of St. Philip West, I want to walk through there, see the farmers develop. I want to walk through there, see more job opportunities. Yes, I want to see people have complained about housing
Mhm.
and land, not having houses, and I've met persons with disabilities. I want them to have home help. We don't want to
Mhm.
forget the vulnerable people in society. They
Mm-hmm.
need to have help around the home. Yes, some of the other problems people were complaining about, but we know that transportation is a bit better than how it was before, but still persons who are disabled, they are still crying out and complaining about having the bus on time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, having that, developed in that area. So, in speaking with people, I really want us to have that self management, have that entrepreneurship development where
Mm-hmm.
I also want when you come to St. Philip to see St. Philip as a place of attraction. I've told my friends personally that I shouldn't have to go down St. James just to have a nice night.
Mm-hmm.
That there should be better attractions for St. Philip West, better recreational activities. I heard a caller call into Brass Stats and she was saying, I want something for my child, to do. In terms of even the primary schools and schools sitting our home so long. Why can't we have a location spot where the children can come to? I don't want to just know that the children in St. Philip West have the voices that are loaned to them. I would like to give them the voices to be
Mm-hmm.
using, not just rent them and then say, well, when you get them back, that they were destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to have them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, Karina. How do you're talking about jobs, and creating jobs. You're seeing a lot of joblessness in St. Philip West.
Yes.
What are the practical steps that you're going to take to, for there to be an increase in employment, in St. Philip West?
Just well, as I was saying, like training for farmers is the same thing. Like every lawyer here, most of them would have done incorporations, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you incorporate your own company, it's better for you to be an entrepreneur than an
Mm-hmm.
employee. Let's
Mm-hmm.
be real. Some of us may be working, but we are not happy in the jobs. And
Mm-hmm.
some of us are tied in the jobs because we have mortgages or some kind of loan that has us tied up and have to stay in a job that makes us miserable.
Mm-hmm.
So really and truly, if we develop more people to be entrepreneurs, and let me be real, there are some people who just decide that they don't want it. There's a
Mm-hmm.
small part of the population that may not want to be an entrepreneur. They prefer to work for somebody. But even so, still help them to be developed, still put things in
Mm-hmm.
place that, yes, they will have better job opportunities. But also, we have to look at the taxation. I will argue in Parliament for about taxation, fair taxes, and so on. We have it right here in our policies. Fair and just taxes. Because it's hitting all of us. Yes, we talk about the nation, but it hits the people in the West. The taxes will still affect the persons in the West.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? And I don't want to see my same fellow West people in the crime pages. I want to see them doing positive things.
Mm-hmm.
I really
And
don't want
you
to see
believe
them
that through,
like that.
entrepreneurship, encouraging entrepreneurship and training, and etc.,
Yes,
that you're going to see, you're going to see them gainfully employed, doing something, and not
exactly.
end up in the crime pages. And I
Correct.
think that is important. There is a question here, from Mr. Hoyt. He's had it here from a while. It says, Karina, what are your views as a candidate on the judiciary, and how its functions are impacting your constituents and other citizens?
But I know that people have been complaining about the timing of cases, and I look at the cases on behold that sometimes yes, it could be expensive. Some of the cases, let's be honest. So I would like that legal aid, right, expand some of the matters. Because say for example, they may say, well, a person cannot bring a claim for say debt collections or what's not. Just for example, we want to expand the things that can actually help people, right? And we actually have to develop a plan for them so that that they don't have to wait so long. I want government to look into it because so many people are crying out that sometimes cases are long. I understand judges too. Sometimes the judges are swamped too. So I don't want to knock the judges at this point, not at all, because as I said, I put myself in people's shoes. So I
Mhm.
would just leave it to say that we have to really get a plan that it works out for both people, the people and the judiciary, since we're
Mhm.
not in their shoes.
Mhm. Mhm. Excellent. Well, I mean, you have such a passion for St. Philip West. Is this where were you born there? Is this where you grew up?
Yes, I am from St. Church Village actually. So I
Ah,
am used to being in St. Philip all the time. Yes.
I could feel
So
that.
I'm
I could
passionate
feel
about
that
St. Philip.
coming
I know
through.
we have some great people in St. Philip. So, let me drop it in Beja. Big
Great
up
people in
yourselves.
St. Philip. So
Yeah, I mean, St. Philip on a whole, you got Mac Fingal down here, you got Little Rick, you got Red Plastic Bag, you have all of these
Yeah.
people. I mean,
John King,
uh, John
John,
King, so many of them down in St. Philip is like, wow.
Eddie Grant.
Eddie
Yes.
Grant, yes, that's so true. That's so true, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Wayne Hoyt is asking another question for Karina. Karina, you want government or you want to spearhead such when you get into parliament? What is he saying? You want to be a minister of government or can you do you understand what he's asking you, Karina?
Well, you could clarify if you choose. So, what is he
Yeah,
asking?
yeah, he's Wayne. Can you clarify this some more for us? Yeah. In the meantime, I'm going to go to Melissa, and at this time, I know I do have Melissa's manifesto. The last time you were here, you didn't have your manifesto, but now you have your manifesto. And Melissa, is this what you do? You distribute this in the community?
I was actually there this evening talking to some people and sharing our manifestos, and I get to some like get some front of my but yes, I am excited about my manifesto for St. George North, and I would treat it as if St. George North is like a little country in itself. My
Mm-hmm.
theme on my manifesto, I would say, is basically to achieve success and sustainability through collective means, which is
Mm-hmm.
pooling of resources. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you examine my manifesto, you will see that I have a section called Building Community Spirit and Entrepreneurship. Now, that
Mm-hmm.
section, it really caters to the establishment of commercial centers. We have a glimpse of it in the Glebe, but I want to go deeper in detail because there are some far out areas like Low Hall and Easy Hall, and those persons sometimes if they have to catch a bus to get to Charles Bridge, they might have to go to
Mm-hmm.
town and come back or ask someone to drop them. But these commercial centers were having a bakery, we're having a government nursery, they were having a section what we call a food depot where farmers could go and sell their produce and get seeds and pesticides and stuff like that. And these different
Mm-hmm.
sections in this commercial center could be rented out to those in the communities to start their own businesses in those areas, and those salon or whatever barbershop. That way you come home to St. George North, you don't have to leave St. George North to go anywhere else to do any kind of business. You have that money circulating within the community. So that's my ideas for the entrepreneurship and community centers. And then I have the establishment of an organization called the Organization of Single Parents. Now that was an
Mm.
idea that I had since I would say 2015, and
Huh.
I would say that I recognize that single parents don't only mean women. There are some men out there who are really single parents and handling on their own, and they find a difficult time struggling. And even those who exist in the comfort of a nuclear family, they too are struggling. So the establishment of the organization of single parents is to create a fund where we would put a fair amount of money, and there we suggested 100,000, and we
Mm-hmm.
encourage our constituents. We are more than 9,000 in our constituency, that we will set up a what we call a sure pay account where they could go and pay an increment of between $5 to $10. Now, if our constituency members meet us with that, we could see within a week, we could see more than $90,000 going into our account weekly. Now, this account is to provide all the resources to send children back to school from primary, nursery, right up to tertiary. Help pay the tuition, help pay for their books, help with the school clothes, because we must be cognizant that the pandemic was actually going on for 2 years, and there are persons who their resources have totally dwindled when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
providing what their children need for back to school. We also
Mm-hmm.
have the disaster risk management fund, which for me
So
is a
Melissa,
great fund because yes,
Melissa, so you're asking the residents to
mhm.
pay $5 to $10 weekly payment. So this is a voluntary request.
Yes, it's a voluntary request. Going to have the $100,000 put in there as our commitment to start the fund.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to
Oh.
continue that fund and add that increment. So let me see, if they do that for 10 weeks of the school vacation, we're guaranteed that when school is ready to spend, we're ready to dip back in that fund. We're going to have a list of all the children in the constituency. We're ready to dip back in that fund. We could say,
Mm-hmm.
well, listen, this is what the fund has in it. And we're going to come
Mm-hmm.
now and go and buy all the surrounding bulk. And then we'll disperse it within the
Oh.
community. So this is like,
Mm-hmm.
yes. So this is us committing that 100,000, but this is our community meeting us and collectively maintaining that fund.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we are
Interesting.
trying to community to achieve our goals collectively. So the disaster risk management fund is similar, because if there's
Wow.
hurricane season and we have negative effects in St. George North, we commit $500,000 to that fund, and we ask you to make the same installments. So if a strong wind blow and people suffer damages, we will have a database of all the artisans that work in the St. George North area. So if you're a
Mm-hmm.
mason, a carpenter, a plumber, an electrician, we will have you in that database. And
Mm-hmm.
same constituency members to work in
Mm-hmm.
their constituency to fix each other's homes and pay them for fixing each other's homes. So it encourages a circulation of money within the
Within
constituency.
St. George
So
North.
we
I
are
mean,
saying to St. George
hold
North,
a minute, hold a
we
minute, Melissa, you're going so
strong.
fast, man. You're going fast. This is brilliant. You're going fast. No, I want to. Wayne Hart is saying sounds like a good idea, Melissa, like a co-op. That's true. It sounds like a co-op to me, and it seems like it's really would engender that community spirit. And I love the fact that everything is remaining. The money's being spent is happening in St. George North. Anybody else? So anybody who's listening, what are
Within the
your
cost,
thoughts?
yes.
Yeah. Wow. So you're not sitting down and waiting on a grant from the government or anything from the government. You're saying to the people, let's get up and do this together.
We are saying that yes, as government, we will start that fund as our commitment. But we're
Mm-hmm.
asking you as the constituency members to come together collectively and let the power of numbers work for us to create a form of security and a safety net that we would not have to worry. We won't have to worry and be fearful of if something happens that there's no safety net to catch us and allow us to maintain ourselves. So then I
Mm-hmm.
also have ideas for the renewable energy, because we know that we're in the windy St. George. And
Mm-hmm.
in that area, we could tap into solar energy and wind energy. So if I could see things and have it my way, I would put windmills in strategic locations and photovoltaic panels. And we would harness that energy and sell that energy from the grid back to light and power in exchange for a reduction for the rates for those in the constituency of St. George North. So I'm treating my constituency as what we would call a collective body, that we lobby for stuff together, we do stuff together. We
Mm-hmm.
but my
Mm-hmm.
I would say my favorite initiative on my manifesto is my initiative, which talks about the establishment of, oh Lord, yes, renewable energy, the establishment of community competition and music facilities and theater. Now, in my
Mm-hmm.
mind, I love this initiative because this speaks directly to the family, and I'm a very family oriented individual. I am a very highly family oriented. Now, this talks about the establishment of community competitions, spelling
Mm-hmm.
bees, song clash competitions, music competitions, and planting competitions, animal rearing competitions, because we are in St. George and our people love to plant and raise their animal and livestock. And then we're looking about having a family week of activities that will provide professional services in family counseling, mental health, family planning, elderly care, and a family day, which will encourage families to get together and have reunions and observance of various family structures outside the nuclear family, because we recognize that the nuclear family is not the only family structure that exists within the society. So I'm telling to I'm really pleading to my people in St. George North to give it a try. We're like a little,
Mhm.
what would they call it? A little business center, a family center, all in one. And if we could bring these ideas to fruition, there are policies that can be used throughout the entire island for all constituencies to get things done. That if there's any kind of serious effects of hurricane or strong wind, or if our families are struggling, we as a collective will say, listen, we got this, we got ourselves, and we can move
Mhm.
forward to bigger ideas and bigger plans, people within our constituency.
I'm reading here, and this is what I'm saying. I'm listening to, these are two daughters of the soil, two daughters of the soil here. Philip, you brought me two strong women here tonight, and you see that smile is back on my face because I just Karina, I when I think about I don't know if you know, I'm Jamaican by birth, right? But I have grown. I've been living here over 20 years. I love Barbados. And listen to you guys, the both of you, listen to Philip, and especially these two women tonight, and the ideas that they have. It just puts a smile on my face, honestly. Because listen to them, you can see these are things that are
Listen to them. You
workable.
can.
And especially
Yeah.
when I listen to Melissa, that's why I said she's going so fast. But it's this is the kind of thing
Yes.
that it's more than telling the people, promising them a road and a light and to put up lights. But you
Correct.
are now talking about taking care of the people, developing the actual people in
Yes.
St.
Yes.
George North. And I could literally see it happening. And people are saying here, Andrea Critchlow, she says, that is a fantastic idea. In every parish is responsible for things they can
Yeah.
do within each of their environments. Then every parish can come together at market and sell amongst each other. I am so excited about
Mhm.
this. I am so
Oh yeah.
excited. What are your thoughts?
Marcia,
Yes.
Marcia, I'm looking at two very, very powerful women here. I'm proud to be running with them and not against them. Melissa she's just a dynamite.
Thank you.
Katrina, I just met for the first time tonight, but let me tell you, you have a minister of economics right there, economic development in Melissa. I met Melissa the day I
Thank
called her
you.
on the phone. I picked her up, and we went to do what we had to do. And this girl's so organized, she makes me feel bad, and I thought I was organized. I want to say that I'm very proud to be on this show tonight with the both of them. I'm glad to have been able to bring them back tonight. Fallon was on here. He's a very strong character as well. He understands, finance. He understands all the things, the energy, all of that, and he needs to be heard. Unfortunately, he tends to get blocked out every time he goes on television. Something goes wrong with the internet or something, and it's a very unfortunate thing. But he's a very strong character. I want to say that these women here, I can actually sit back in my chair here and listen to them. I can close my eyes and envision what they're saying. Both these young ladies have a passion for their ridings, their constituency, not just for a job. And I've heard them talk about the farmer.
Yeah.
If we do not have food for sufficiency, we are going to starve to death.
Mhm.
And we need to start
Correct.
thinking about that. And I hear the theme from both of these ladies, even Katrina as a I keep saying Katrina as well. That's not a nice thing.
Karina.
Karina.
Karina, listen, even as an attorney, you hear her talk about the passion for the farmers in St. Philip West. Well, I used to live in St. Philip. I now live in St. Thomas. I used to live in
I'm a
St. Philip.
Filipino. I'm a Filipino.
Well, so am I to some degree, but I would say this. I came back
Okay.
to St. Thomas where I was born. I don't think it was by accident, but I want to say this. Um, we are, I hear people talk about the system. The system is broken. The system needs fixing. Well, I got news for most people if you haven't figured it out. The system is not broken. The system does not need fixing because the system is designed to work the way it is. What we need to do is listen to what these young ladies are. Find our groove, find our path. Forget the system, opt out of it. It is not necessary. If we depend on the system, we will be here another 55 years begging for help.
Mhm.
55
So
years.
let me ask you, Philip. Let me ask you, Philip, because what are your plans at St. Thomas?
There
What
you
are
go.
your plans at St. Thomas?
Right. Okay. Well, very much as these ladies have suggested, we have to start from the smallest component. That's the easiest place to start. The smallest component would be to get into the community, see what the community needs are, address the issue
Kind of
of
neat.
food security, address the issue of the needs of the farmers, because St. Thomas is a bit of a rural area, even though it's still close to the city and this and that. It is country. And once you can address the issues of the people at the community level, everything from health care, the food security issues, school, roads, repairs and so of the roads that are broken or damaged, get people to be able to drive their vehicles without breaking their wheels off and this and that. All these things are essential. If you do not have good transportation routes,
Mhm.
you are always going to have problems. But let's go beyond that. I want to go to a bigger picture now, which it doesn't just include St. Thomas, but the entire island. We need to have a national bank. We need to have a bank of some description, which we sold to the Trinidadians. We need to have another bank. We need to have a bank belong to the people that can't be sold to nobody.
Mhm.
We need to have a development bank. That's what Melissa is talking about, and I believe that that is essential. When the farmer needs to have money to go and do his business, unless he um, finds his uncle or auntie or fairy godfather who's going to lend him some money to go into business, he pretty much is struggling very hard. If we had a national development bank that would allow for these entrepreneurs to be able to go borrow the money to develop their product, the, also while doing that, get some mentorship, get some mentoring. I had developed a program over 15 years ago when I first came here. I won't mention the institution. Uh, but the idea was that we would develop 10 entrepreneurs at a time.
Mhm.
Like, in other words, every year you bring in 10 new entrepreneurs into this institution, from this institution that is looking to develop a business, and you pair them off with a mentor. Each one would have a mentor selected from a pool of persons. After 5 or 6 years, even if 50% of those people were successful at what they were doing, no, it would do two things. One, it improves the risk, the loan risk of the institution. Two, it gives people more confidence in what they're doing, and other
Mhm.
people will see and be able to emulate this. The problem we have here is that the system does not supply the meet the needs of the people where it needs to be met. You go to the banks and stuff, they really don't want to talk to you at that level. They're not interested. They want security. They want 3, 4 times whatever they're lending out. Those people are the people who need the help, and yet we need them more. Look, in all of this pandemic, look who are the most important people: the garbage collector, who has to keep the streets clean; the farmer, who has to feed the people; the nurse, right? The teacher. Why aren't we learning how to deal with these people in the proper way and give them the support they need? The entrepreneur out there is what keeps the engine of this country running, and there's nowhere for them to go. Yes, there are some microfinance companies. I won't call their names, but there are 2 or 3 that I'm aware of. But it's not adequate. It's not
So,
enough.
so specifically, how are you going to get this done in St. Thomas? Are
Well,
you going to be in terms of lending and making sure that the farmers, they have the capital, etc. What are the specific things
I
you're really doing?
I like Melissa's idea of the communities developing, and it's almost like a self funding machine.
Mm-hmm.
And once you come together as a community and you figure out the needs of the community, you develop the pool of funds that is then put together. And
Mm-hmm.
in that collective of funds, that is then used to leverage additional capital, whether it's from the government or whether it's from the commercial banks or whatever, to help those people to be able to carry out their initiatives,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it is with the support of this group. And if one person has a problem, the rest pulls in with that person and tries to help to manage the problem
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and ultimately resolve it one way or another. Either you bring the person out of the problem, or you resolve the problem and move on to the next person. Not everybody's going to succeed at everything they do,
Mm-hmm.
but we must manage the risk. If we don't manage the risk, we're always going to have somebody falling down, and then they're down in the gutter, and everybody's walking past them, and they feel very bad, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So we want to mitigate that, minimize that risk. Also, it looks better to the bank because me as an individual is not as strong as if I came with these two ladies as a team and go to the bank with the same proposal. So in this case, you have a whole community now working together. I'm buying from you, you're buying from John. He's trading with Susan, and we all put in our resources together. A percentage of everything that we earn goes back in to assist in the event. It's like an insurance,
Mm-hmm.
if you
Mm-hmm.
can understand that concept. But Melissa explains it very well. I mean, her
Yeah.
and I spoke about this sometime last week, and
Mm-hmm.
I was quite impressed with the fact that she had such a good grasp on it. I mean,
Yes.
and I think that is where we have to start. The system that we're into right now,
Mm-hmm.
Marcia, does not work for us. It's not designed for us, and it does not work for us. That's our
As a matter of fact, I mean, I've been on the show doing Election Express, and I would say that what I heard tonight, from these ladies, but especially Melissa, is just exceptional, and it is something that honestly, I have to be honest about it. I believe, Karina, this is something that we could look at and make. Somebody said it too. I thought of it when she was speaking, that this need to be a prototype. This needs to be what is done, and she has a handle on it. I'm gonna be honest, and I think this is something that and this is what gets me,
Yeah.
so passionate sometimes, Karina, is that we have
Yes.
capable people. Somebody will look at Melissa and they say Melissa is a fisherwoman.
Mm.
That's
She's
what
a
they're going to
businesswoman.
say.
Proud one
Melissa
too.
went to Parkinson
Proud
School.
woman.
Yeah, they overlook you.
Yeah, Melissa is a fisherwoman who went to Parkinson School. That's what they see. Melissa is a hustler,
No.
hustling on in near a beds, as she was telling me
Mm.
before, selling her jewelry and her trinkets. You understand?
Yeah.
That's what they see. But look at what is coming out of this woman tonight.
It really is.
And
Yes.
she
Yes.
is a daughter of the soil and a product of this soil. And this,
Yes.
you see,
Yes.
I
this
think
that
what
she has
people
here. Well, 1 second, Melissa. I'm endorsing you. 1 second. This that she has here is gold. It is gold, and this
Yes,
is
it is.
more that I
Mm.
feel. You know when something is just right. Karina. You listen to it and
Yes.
you're like, hmm.
We
This
have
is
to
this is
endorse
it.
that boldness, endorse those great ideas from the good people of the community.
Coming from the community, from people that they're not supposed to. We they need to be of a certain elk in certain in society, right? And look at
Yes.
what is happening, and so we can't go about judging a book by its cover, right? Because anybody who listens to this is going to say the same thing. This sounds
Mm.
like a prototype, like it needs to be set up as a pilot program and taken from one parish and lift it up and put it in the next. I mean, each parish, like St. Philip, West, you might have to tweak some things.
Right.
You
Yeah.
Yes,
probably,
yes. According to
you
the
know,
needs of the people, of
Right.
course.
go
We
ahead.
will, we will welcome this. We will welcome it.
Mm-hmm.
We
Go
will
ahead,
Martin,
welcome it
Tina.
because you
Ma-
people must realize, right? The
I
concepts of
want,
old time Barbados
right.
was that you'll be a keeper. You leave your
I,
house open and you know your neighbor will keep an eye out to make sure nobody don't trouble anything. So that safety net that we as Barbadians traditionally have is entrenched in our society. And we could use it and apply it to every single facet of life. If we want to achieve something and we want
Mhm.
to uplift each other, let's try to achieve it together.
good.
Let's not
True.
think about I want is what we want.
But
I
Because
want to.
I,
I
as a
want.
parent, seeing other parents, it's hard to do something
I want to
ourselves.
say
But
something
I
though.
know that if we come together and sit down, we will get it done.
good.
On the
Philip, you were
We will
saying
get it
something.
done.
on the other side of this, and I applaud Melissa. And let me tell you something. Both these ladies here are dynamite. I met a young lady, um, the middle of December. I met her on Subtle Street. Um, I was at a meeting she had attended. And then 2 days later, I was on Subtle Street again with another young friend of mine who was trying to open a business down there. And he'd asked me to come with him to just look at the idea. This is the mentoring thing again. That is very important. And while I was with him, looking at his business concept and the location, and he's measuring up and all this, I heard a young lady saying, I heard a voice saying, hello, hello. And I wasn't really paying attention. After about six hellos, I finally realized it's the same young lady that I had met a few days earlier in a meeting. Um, After she pulled me aside and she spoke with me, I'm gonna say this now. This is the opposite side of everything that we've been talking about. This young lady is also like Melissa. You know, she sells her goods and stuff on the street, and she's very good at it and she works hard. But she sold a business person some of her goods in December, amounting to just over $5,000. And this gentleman to date has not paid her for her stuff. He's given her two checks, and both checks have not been honorable at the bank, but yet he has taken her products, which I'm sure he has sold over Christmas. And I'm sure every time she calls, he gives her some story about this or that or the next. I won't go into the details on the show, but I'm
No,
just showing the
no.
other thing. When we have a community concept like these ladies are discussing, there are people in the community that would be able to go to an individual like this and say, "Man, this is a 26-year-old young lady with two children, single mother. She called me night before last night crying because her landlord is demanding the rent, and this man owes her over $5,000 that he took from her at Christmas. I have copies of the checks. You see, this is the other sad part. But you see the concept that Melissa is talking about. This is what we need. That's why we need to work closer together. Protect the weak and strengthen. Give the strong ones even more strength, but protect the weak. We need to protect. She not that she's weak, because this girl, she hustles hard. She works very hard. One thing I can tell you about a lot of our young women, they get up early in the morning and they go and hustle their goods, and doing an honest living, working
Yeah.
honest and making a living. And some guy gonna take you down for $5,000 plus. You're a woman. I took her food. Now I'm not trying to back pat myself. I had on Christmas Day, I was out to dinner at some family members, and I actually remembered that I went and I took food to her home to make sure that her and her children was eating. And as of 2 days ago, he had still not paid her money.
Okay.
And
But
I've spoken to some people now who intend to go and see this individual, not in any bad run, but to say, hey, you need to do better. This is what this concept that these young ladies are talking about is community first. You have to be able to know your community, deal with your community, deal with the issues, know everything about this person. If they sneeze, you got to know that they're catching a cold or
correct,
whatever.
correct.
And once
Makes
you
a
have
lot of sense. Make a lot of sense.
once you have that, we can build anything from there.
Correct, correct. Now we're coming to a close. We're coming to a close, but I want to say, this show is happening now, and I know that there are lots and lots of spot meetings that's happening all over Barbados right now, and people are just blowing up money because it costs a lot of money for those sound systems and the trucks and the shirts and the a lots of things are happening, and so I'm going to ask you guys when this show is finished just to share it. We need them to hear these three wonderful candidates tonight. We need them to hear them. We need people to pay attention. And I want to say to you guys tonight that regardless of what happened on the 19th, I am looking for some people who are so committed that regardless of what happens, that I want to see Melissa, you say no. The 19th has nothing to do with these proposals.
Hmm.
I'm looking for Karina to say this training that I want to do in St. Philip West, and my farmers and my entrepreneurs, because you say I love how you do that, and you say my St. Philip West. I love it. I love it. You know, I want to see this kind, and I want you to come back to the show anytime you want to come. You start a program and you say, Marcia, can I come on? Or I'm in the arts, can I get some dancers, can I get what resources do you have, Miss Weeks, that can help me? You know what I'm saying, guys? I want to. You make me want to. I mean, I'm a St. Philip girl, right? But listening to Melissa, honestly, I want to. I want to go up with St. George. Listen, Melissa. I mean, them things real, okay? And I'm hoping that this will be something. Whatever what you're saying to me tonight, gentle people, Philip, everybody. This transcends the 19th, and that's what I want you to know. This is what you call being patriotic and
Yes,
being committed and loyal to your country. This is what you call being nationalistic.
yes,
That's what this is about. This is what you call about loving him,
yeah.
loving
Marcia,
Yes.
Barbados.
we at Sovereignty, this is not just about politics. We actually have an organization called the Barbados Sovereign People's Movement. That is where the political arm that I'm involved with and developing comes from. But the Sovereign People's Movement is a collection of individuals. A lot of them are Barbadians who've lived overseas, who've come back here. And what they're doing is they're offering themselves, their mentorship, their services to locals and their resources. And
Mm-hmm,
I'm part of that organization.
mm-hmm.
And I will give more information on that after the election. And I say after because once the election is over, we can get back to focusing on developing and mentoring the people. Yes.
Definitely.
So I want you to know that this is not just about the 19th, because after the 19th, we're still
Yeah.
going to have the people's movement going on, the
Mm-hmm.
sovereign people's movement.
Yes.
And I will invite some of these people that I've met now, like Karina and Melissa and others, Fallon and others, to join with us in their particular areas, wherever the
Yes.
constituencies are, and we will bring people to them
Yes.
to help them to develop their programs. That
I,
is
I
what.
On.
think that is the way to go, because if we get
Hmm.
caught up on the 19th, guys, you're gonna lose a lot. You're gonna, but begin to build, because I'm in my community, and then people say, why don't you run? No, but I don't. People need to run. They need
Yes,
to
they
be
do.
representation, but I don't need to run to take care of my community. You understand
But
what I'm saying?
more
I can
importantly,
team up. I can team up with Karina. I could team up with whoever is working in that particular area. The point is that this is what we're going to have to do. You
yes,
can't sit back. And what I love about Melissa, it's not sitting and waiting entirely on government. Yes, she's going to get some
Yeah.
funding from the government to get started, but it is being maintained by the people and managed by the people,
correct,
and it
correct,
lives by the people. And I
correct.
think that is what is so beautiful about that project. and
Yes.
everything is laid out properly. I want to make an offer. I want to ask somebody on here. Okay, sorry. So I'm reading some of the comments that's coming in. Listen, guys, what I want to say to those of you who are watching tonight, and I want to say that when you listen to these plans that these ladies have, somebody like Melissa, I'm singing out Melissa because she already has, I'm sure Karina has hers, but the way she
Yes, I
has
do
it
have
laid
mine.
out, you have yours as well, right?
I do
Both of
have
you,
mine.
and Philip as well. You need to have a video.
Yes.
You need a video, and you see how my technical person was making it big and showing the words on the screen,
Yes.
Yes,
and showing you need that, not just talking. The people want to see it too. Okay,
yes. You're gonna
and
have it
Correct.
and
on the
and
first too. Yes, you have it on the
Correct.
first, and we're definitely doing a video, so you can
Yes.
look up for that.
yes, you need it, because and so that this is something that I honestly think that if you're really doing this, even after the 19th, that you will get support. I just
Yes,
believe that in my heart. I believe that
thank you.
because the plans are so
Well,
beautiful. Go ahead, Melissa. Go ahead.
I want to say something to Karina, Miss Karina Goodrich. I want to congratulate her on her courage. I mean, at her age, I was still scared to say what I wanted to say. And she is here saying what she wants to say, and she's actually contributing to our fabric of society at a tender age. The Prime Minister of New Zealand, I believe, or it was Finland, they're 27 years old. People make it seem that being involved in politics, being involved in decision making of your country is only for those that are seasoned in age. But I want persons to follow
Yes,
Karina's example to know that the younger you are, the more you will learn, and you will be able to correct any mistakes that you make to be even better
correct.
as you go forward. So, Karina, my hat's off to you. You have courage
Thank you
that
so
I did
much.
have. I'm 37 years old. I'm 37 years old, and I encourage you to continue on your
Listen, listen,
and
listen.
inspire others to do the same as you have done. Because I consider that I waited too late. I
Listen
waited
to
too
these
late. It
two
was
old
bottled up
women.
for so long. But
Listen,
you are
listen
here
to
to show
these
that
two
we don't
old.
have to wait. We don't have to
the-
wait.
Yeah,
these
you
two
carry
old
that
women,
young passion.
37 and 34, telling it, I'm 62 years old. Imagine.
Hmm.
So I've got less days ahead than I've already lived. The
Oh,
beauty about this here is to see that you're the ages of my
there needs to be
children,
a
believe
mix
it or
up.
not.
There needs to be
And
a mix up.
no, it's wonderful. I love this because it's like my kids are your
Yes,
age. And the amazing thing about it is that when I see, and you're women, that is the next real powerful thing. There was a time when you wouldn't even be on this, Marcia wouldn't even be, there'll be some
that's so
old
true.
dude sitting there. So we've come a long way, but we need to make that, hey, listen, and then when we make the new government, it has to be 50-50 at least. You know why? What is a family if you don't have a mother and a father? If you had just a father and some children, then you have a problem. If you have just a mother and some children, you have a problem. You need to have a balance. We haven't had a balance in a long time. We need to balance that parliament out. We need good ideas. Melissa has brilliant ideas. Karina, you have brilliant ideas. And you know what? Even though you're more cautious in your speech, your
Yes,
ideas still come through.
you
Your
learn that as an
passion,
attorney.
your passion for your constituency comes
Yes,
through.
yes, yes,
And you
yes.
know what? I am here for you guys. Mr.
I just love people.
Granville Phillips approached me about being in coalition with you guys, and he's brought a wonderful team with him. I'm happy that I'm able to be part of it with you guys, and I'm there to as an elder, basically, to support you young people and any others that want to join us. They don't have to be political. They might just have entrepreneurial ambitions or some other ambition. We want to take them off the streets. We want to get them out of trouble, and we want to give them a reason to dream and to live and to achieve.
Mhm.
Thank
Yeah.
you, ladies. You're wonderful.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well,
So
if
thank
you
you,
just
Well,
go
it,
ahead,
thank you for your
Karina.
it's
comments
great.
too,
Go
Melissa.
ahead.
Yes, I was just telling Melissa, thank you so much for your comments. I love to see women speaking out and being a great voice, and we need a great oppositional voice. Even if yet, you know, become 19, things will happen in our favor. We're still hoping that somebody will stand on, the principles of God and push forward and really push the needs of the people. Yes, we really need
Awesome,
that. And there's
awesome.
more going on. We're going to be campaigning still. We're going to be learning and hearing more. And that's most important, doing inquiries and research to understand what's going on in our society.
Mhm. Let me tell you, if you guys, these are women of promise. I tell you that, and I can feel it. And all they have to do is to continue after the 19th. Continue, just continue, continue. Continue, because you guys, you deserve to be heard, and what you are proposing is really, I believe, is what we need. And so I wish you all the best. But just before you go, I want to show you a little bit about our nurses and about our hospital. And because we're going to deal with some,
Yes.
I want you to look at some national issues as well. So you've talked a lot about your community. Actually, we started the show talking about national issues with the vaccines and not just the vaccines, but the COVID-19 and the the environment that we're in, and having an election in such an environment. And now I want us to take a look at our nurses. So I have two videos that my technical person is going to just to show us, and to kind of remind us about nurses. I don't want us to forget them. I don't want us to forget our nurses. And we're going to just we're going to look at those videos now.
Just share Veronica, and I
Yes.
just got this video pinned. Excuse me. And the person who sent it is saying that it is the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Barbados, and they are showing where it has a major leak. And I think it's leaking on the walls, not even in an area where you can ignore it, but right on the walls. So let me play this for you as it was received. Here we go.
Here's what I'm living through. This is what one of the great nurses living through.
See the water?
Ain't nothing. Look at that.
Yeah, play it again.
Here's what I'm living through. This is what one of the great nurses living through.
See the water?
Ain't nothing.
See?
Look at that.
Okay, that's it. Show Veronica.
Hmm.
Mm, mm.
Wow. And this is a hospital, and this was confirmed because I saw a newspaper article, and this was confirmed, and someone in a very high position um, was speaking about it, and this is like water just coming into the hospital. And these are some of the conditions. So all of those who are saying that the nurses are making up things, here it is. We have a video, Karina, of this. How would you like to be? You're working, and this is the environment you're working in. What are your thoughts about that, Karina?
Definitely, I will use two words and say it fix it. It definitely needs to be fixed. It needs to be addressed. And I, at this time, I want to commend the nurses for working through tough situations, working through hard times. We have to remember them, even in prayer. We want to say thank you. I want to say thank you on behalf of St. Philip West, on behalf of Solution Barbados. Thank you to the nurses for your contribution. I apologize for the treatment, for even going through things like not getting your salary on time. I apologize on behalf of the country to you. And my simple words are fix it. It needs fixing. If they're in an uncomfortable situation, it needs to be addressed as soon as possible. Fix it.
Hmm.
I share
Wow.
those sentiments with you, Karina, and I too was there on the march. Marcia, I saw you there when the nurses were out there. We were out there standing in solidarity with them and with Mr. Franklin. And my mother was a nurse at QEH for many years. my biological mother, that is. And one of my daughters, my second daughter, is a nurse in Canada, and she's in pediatrics. But when this thing broke out at Master Medical, where she works, it was quite devastating. And she would tell me about the horrific stories that she had to go through. And I'm very much in favor of us looking and thinking about or people of frontline people such as nurses, you know, even like I said, the garbage people. I don't think most of us really realize the job that a garbage person does. Without garbage people, we would be full of infestation and probably far more diseases and so on and so forth.
Yes.
We must, without belaboring it though, I think that after the 19th, we have to stay in the mode of making an improvement. We have to come up with
Yeah.
solutions. We're not going to do this in the 2 or 3 weeks that they've given us to throw them out of office. But we have to continue to work for the next 5 years thereafter
Mhm.
to make this place a better place for all of us to live in.
Thank you
I
so much. Well, we have
agree with
we
Thank
only
you,
we have
Marcel.
only a few minutes left. Karina, you were saying something. I didn't hear you, my dear. You were saying something.
I was thinking, that in these times, if we have a special fund, for the hospital, yeah, additional funds, so that then when these things happen, then you can dip into those funds and fix these situations as soon as possible. They won't leave my words there with just saying fix it and then don't have a plan, because somebody may come and say, oh, she said fix it, and then there's no plan. So we need to work on that, having that funding, so that when these situations happen, then we can dip into those funds and fix the situation.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Melissa,
Well,
what are
my
your thoughts as you saw the nurses there?
well, well, my thoughts on the situation is that I can now understand why some nurses, when they're at work, some people say they might be agitated or might be short tempered, because to work in a facility where one person to about 5 or 10 beds, and then be compounded with issues that exist as portrayed in that video, it would be obvious it would affect your temperament, to realize that these are people that are actually human beings. They get tired and frustrated, and yes, the direction of their temperament towards a person that's ailing might not be correct, because the powers that be have mismanaged the facility in which they're working in. That's a sign of total mismanagement and neglect. And it's difficult for me to even watch real. It's difficult for me. So I'm asking Barbie to consider that these individuals, yes, you could say left or you could say right, that we complain and say that they're short tempered or they weren't welcoming, but look at the conditions on which they're working under, and consider that if you were
Correct.
working in such conditions, long hours, without pay, your bills are packing up, and then you have to be working and giving care to multiple individuals at the same time. Some might react violently or some might not react violently. I've heard of a nurse who worked at a geriatric facility, and one of the patients kicked her in her chest, and it caused her to turn on to cough. She was hurt because she was in pain, and she was seriously injured. So I'm asking persons to recognize that persons working under these conditions will be temperamental, and to towards them, because their environment is a difficult one. Not just the physical environment, but the working environment, and the fact that they're working without pay. That's why I believe that in 2022 we should not have had a march for nursing. It shows, it reflects so much on our government, and for me it's an embarrassment to our medical facility, to our whole medical system, that nurses will have to do that in this day and age. So I'm just
Yeah.
Mhm.
asking persons to recognize the struggle. It is a struggle. That video is a representation of struggle, a struggle
Yeah.
that we should have if we're to stay the course. And that is the course that we're on. We need to jump off and come off of that course. We
Mhm.
cannot stay the course in these conditions, not in 2022. We must be more demanding you must request more accountability, because that situation there is signs of constant punishment, neglect.
Correct.
Mismanagement.
That my take
Correct.
on that situation. I won't say any further.
Correct, correct, correct. Very well said. Very well said. And before we close, we have a schedule here of from BFP, Bajan Free Party, Alex Mitchell, and this is their spot meetings, and we're going to just announce them so that you can, go out and listen to them and support them. Anytime I see anything on my page with having to do with a third party, I share it. That's just a given. And I'm asking everybody share their stuff. They don't have as half as much money nothing, not even an eighth of the money that these other big parties have. So whatever they have, you share it. In addition to that, those of you who, if you want to donate to Melissa, to Philip, and to Karina, you can indicate in the comment section, and I will challenge the candidates to go to the Marcy Weeks page, find the show, go through the comments, and connect with these people. There are people in there that are encouraging you. Say a thank you, connect with them because you don't know who they are. Today there was another party on here yesterday, and we did the same thing. And I made the same request to people, and you know what people have said. You know what, we want to help. Okay, so Barbados Sovereignty Parties on Solutions Barbados, Bajan Free Party. Do you want to support? Fine. They didn't ask me. Did you ask me to do this, Philip?
No, not
No,
at
you
all.
didn't.
No, I
Okay,
didn't.
nobody asked me, and I'm not being paid by anyone. Nobody's paying me to do this. I'm using my time. I open
Well,
up my own computer, and I'm
my
doing this for everybody. This is nothing to do with me. So if you have a donation and you want to give a campaign, Barack Obama, Melissa,
my spot
Barack Obama campaign was a
my
dollar.
spot
People
meeting
put in
will
their
be
money.
tomorrow night.
Yes.
Yeah.
My spot meeting will be tomorrow night in Newberry for 6:30.
Newberry 6:30. Take a video. Let somebody do a video so that I can get it to play on here. And could my technical person, could we put back the spot meetings for BFP? Let me just read them out quickly before we close. Let's just see them again. And
And send that
this
to me as well.
yes, this
Send me
is
that document, Marcia.
I have those, Melissa. You can get that. It's not a problem.
Yes,
Okay,
so
send me
this
also.
this is, thank you so much because
Thank
I
you.
can't see it. Alex Mitchell is St. Michael South, the 12th of January at 7:30. He's going to be at Valley Park housing areas unit in St. Michael. And on the 15th of January, it's all there, guys. You can take a screenshot of it. Candidate Mrs. Jeanette Eiffel and Mr. David Roberts and Roy Turnkey. I know Roy. They're going to be different parts of St. Michael, West Central, St. Michael Northeast, and Jeanette Eiffel is in Christchurch East Central.
I
Okay.
was trying to get her for you tonight. I wanted to bring her on, but they had a spot meeting, so I couldn't. I didn't
Yes.
want
Well,
to
you know
disrupt
what?
her.
All you guys gotta do, take some pictures and do a video and send it to me. Okay. And as much as I can, I'm gonna share that with them. Tomorrow I have APP on, and tomorrow and the night after. So tomorrow Thursday is APP, Friday it's you guys again. So have material. Send stuff. Send stuff of what you're doing in the
Oh,
community, videos. Let us hear what is
Sure,
happening.
sure, will do.
Yeah, even on Friday night, if you want to have a live coming straight from come on the program straight from your spot meeting
Mhm.
or straight from your community. That's different.
oh,
You might need a little data, right? Put a little extra data on the phone, and you come in just like this. Have somebody hold your phone, and we're hearing everything. You could be interviewing the people right there on your spot meeting. Use the social media, use the tools that you have. Right now, you came on in your homes, but you could come on in your community if you
Yes.
have data. Get some data on your phone,
Yes, that's what.
and let's get going.
oh,
By the way, I sent you two videos since you've been on.
it's
My tech people were sending me. We did a couple of videos today, and they're very nice. Actually, I only saw them for the first time, halfway through the show, but I've sent them to you. So
Well,
so
you know
you
what? We will have those up for you on Friday. Friday is your night
yes.
again. So let's plan it out and do your thing tomorrow. We will have the alliance will be on tomorrow, and Friday is yours. Okay, so
Yes, we'll
make
I
it
will bring
happen.
some. So we'll
Okay.
bring some more blood. I mean, these girls were great. We want to get other people on as well, and show Barbados that we have diversity in talent and intelligence, and
Great
you
job,
know,
Philip. You guys are doing a great
Great
job.
job, Philip.
Karina, a pleasure meeting you. Okay, somebody's saying, "Oh, can I connect with Philip?" Right. So, Philip, please check. How do you have a website or a number?
yes, I do actually. But what I want to do, I'll give you the easiest way right now. Just call me at 847-0809 847-0809, and I will direct you from there where you have to go. Right? I want to tell one real fascinating story before we go.
Really short though, Philip.
Yeah, very
Really
short.
short.
Very short.
Because you passed the time. 1 minute.
I did the show with Melissa last week here, yes? Nobody saw, and the next day I received a call, and I declined at first. They wanted to meet with me, and I declined. And after, the person kept insistent that they had to meet with me, and I finally agreed after the third call. It was from they called the first at 7, 9, and 11 o'clock. At 11, I decided, okay, I'm going to go meet with them. I went to a home, and I knew the place I was going to, so I was okay as far as that's concerned. But I took some people with me. Much to my surprise, when I arrived there were about 30 people waiting for me. And these were people who were watching the show and were invited by someone who watches your show on a regular basis. And they wanted to talk to me and find out what it is that how they can get involved and how I can help them to develop their community and this and that. And we ended up 5 hours where I went there to spend maybe half an hour. We spent 5 hours with these people. It was so amazing. And that was only last at the end of the show last week, the next day. And I just wanted to say that there are a lot of people watching the show. Some of them may not tune in, they may not put comments and this and that, but there are people watching. It is getting through to the people. They are aware that you're there. You're doing a great job, Marcia. And I realize that it's reaching because as I did, there were 30 people in that room, in that house, not the room,
Wow.
in the house. When I counted them because I was a little bit petrified after like, who are all these people? I didn't know them. I only knew one person, the person that insisted I had to come, but they never told me what I was in for. I just want to say that because just like the person that wants to connect, that might be another case where I go and there's 30 or 40 people, they're not in a room, they're spread out on the very, very well done because it was actually at a farm and it was an open space situation. But it was quite interesting to hear all the diverse opinions, but that people are seriously looking for solutions.
Yeah.
Solutions, Barbados, get it?
Solutions Barbados, and the Solutions Barbados has a website. You can search for it. Solutions Barbados. You're not going to miss it. I don't have the exact
Listen,
address, but
also,
someone's saying something.
I heard something.
Yeah, trying to see here. Right, Solutions Barbados, and Wayne Hoyt is saying, Philip, I'm in your constituency. And so Wayne, his number is there. Please reach out to him. And anybody has any donation, big or small, you can give these ladies so they can put out a nice video. Everything costs money. And because it's election time, it's like Christmas for a lot of people. And so they overcharge things and they do, lots of stuff. So you want to support them, guys. Every little bit counts. And check in the chat, and you might be able to find some people in there, ladies, that you can connect with. Okay, all
yeah,
the
thank you.
very best to you all. These plans are lovely, and I love that manifesto. I love the thoughts. I love Katrina. Your love for your community is infectious. Really, it's a
Thank you.
genuine love, and I could tell without you telling me that you were born there. That's
There's,
where you grew up.
there's a
Here,
really
genuine. Yeah.
there's a good guy up there in Philip North as well, Master Omar, I think you need to get him on this show. I'm gonna try to get him on this show for you. But
As
he's doing a
well,
very
right? Well,
good job.
Friday is yours. Okay, tomorrow, to everybody, we'll be back on with APP is on tomorrow. App is on tomorrow, and on Friday we will have the coalition will be on Friday. Okay,
Thank
all
you.
the very best. So
Good
sorry,
night.
Paula didn't get on, but we keep working at it. Okay, guys. God
Okay.
bless you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Bless you.
Good
Thank you
morning.
so much.
Shalom, shalom.
Yes. Bye bye.
Shalom. Bye.
That's a good night.